Hi, my name is Gavin Vitale. I think a lot, probably too much for my own good, and I'm very sensitive, something some would probably say is a bad thing, but I've been coming around to it. When I was in middle school, in a bus on the way home from a field trip, next to my best friend, I opened up my notes app, wrote out that I thought I might like guys because I couldn't say the words, then handed the phone to them. They were the first person I told, and I didn't know how they'd react, and counting the seconds they took to read the message was the longest wait of my life. But then she turned to me, hugged me, and told me that it was okay. There was no reason to be worried, that she still saw me the same way, and that she loved me so much. I remember crying and hugging her back, and feeling so full of love. Did you feel that? That tug at your heart, or that spark in your chest? That feeling that you get when someone shares a story that's precious to them. You feel almost honored to get such a vulnerable look into what they hold dear. I love that feeling. I'm fascinated by that feeling. It's what can bridge that gap between you and a stranger, and suddenly, they're not a stranger anymore. How funny is it that a story, just a jumble of words and emotions, can do all that? Recently, my mind's become stuck on that thought, and I knew that I had to explore it in some way. So I started a project focused on collecting stories of love from all across the world, and sharing them back out in the form of a film. As I listened to the first few messages, getting glimpses into the lives of people whose names I may never learn, I became overwhelmed by that feeling of fascination, and all I knew was that I wanted to share this feeling with as many people as I could. That's when I ran into a problem. I was getting barely any calls. As I thought about it, I realized the issue. Sharing a story that's precious to you with a complete stranger is hard. You have to be vulnerable, and as I've unfortunately learned, it's not something that a pretty poster can convince you to do. So, I decided to document and share my story so far. That way, you're not telling your story to a stranger. You're telling it to me, Gavin. I'm hoping that by sharing these messages of love I've received, I can show people the importance of telling these intimate stories, and request that they share one of theirs, starting, hopefully, with you. So go on, someone's calling. Pick up the phone.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. This feels so weird, but,
I was working at a summer camp, and I saw this girl,
there was this boy.
and she looked so cool. I'm gonna give the phone over to that girl.
So we were talking about crushes, and I told some of my kids that I had a crush on a cute lifeguard that would occasionally come over to our camp. And I was absolutely mortified when I saw them run over and tell him that I had a crush on him, but he reciprocated my feelings.
We've been dating for 3 years. I love her.
I love you too.
We went to the park and we drew for each other, and we just sat there and talked for forever. And it was like all of the things that had happened between us over 7 years, just, it was all there.
He showed me a song that he really loved, and when he first heard it, he said that he thought about me. And then afterwards, he walked me home, and I realized that he lived very, very far from me. Like, that park that we were at was a 25-minute walk from my house, and he lived right next to that park.
Eventually, we started growing apart a little bit. We both just graduated, so we're going to different colleges. He's going across the country, and I don't know if I'll ever talk to him again. But that one night at the park, just sitting in his car listening to music, I'm never going to forget that.
I recently enlisted in the Navy, and I remember when I saw him on stage for the first time in a while. It was definitely an experience, man. It was definitely something beautiful.
My best friend, I went to visit a friend of mine.
I have a friend, and she is one of the loveliest people I know, one of the kindest souls, and she was pulling an all-nighter. And we just talked and talked for 2 hours just about everything going on in our lives. And I don't talk to her very often, or if I do, It's these really, like, soul-bonding, like, discussions where anything is on the table, and it makes me feel not alone in my own body.
I was having a really rough night. I have issues sleeping a lot of the time, and it was around 2 or 3 in the morning, and I texted one of my friends, and I was like, hey, you want to go get Taco Bell and, like, hang out in the park for a little bit? And she was like, yeah, sure. And so we went out to the park, and we took our Taco Bell down under the bridge, and we sat there and just talked for an hour or two. It was wonderful. Like, I don't think I've ever felt that loved in my life, that somebody would get out of bed at 3 in the morning and go sit under a bridge with me. She was there when I needed her.
We were both feeling kind of down. We laid on her living room floor, just side by side, staring at the ceiling, and just listened to a million different sad songs. It felt so good to just not have to say anything, but be able to feel everything.
My friends, they helped me really get through it. And I thought I wasn't gonna make it.
My boyfriend, he accidentally cut his hand, and so for the next hour I was patching his hand up, and he just looked up at me and he was and he just started laughing at me, and he's like, what, do you think you're an EMT now or something? I don't know, it was just really funny. But yeah, I really do love him.
There's my story.
That's it. Thanks. Bye.
All right, bye.
So now I leave you with this: an outstretched hand and an opportunity to be a part of something. Something that I hope I've been able to show you matters. A chance to connect with others and for a story of love from your life to be immortalized. So, what do you say?